Hello again and welcome back to our course on Excel 2013. In this section and the next section we're going to look at protection. We're going to look at protecting worksheets in this section and workbooks in the next one. Now, in order to demonstrate protecting worksheets, I'd like to look at the invoice that we worked on earlier on in the course. And you may recall that when we started on the invoice we didn't have any formula or functions being used to fill in the data on the invoice. It was just directly typed in. Now if we look, say, at the phone number of Ocean Plumbing themselves, it's still just text in cell C8. But if we look in the phone number of the customer to whom this invoice is addressed, we've now got in there a VLOOKUP function. Now it will be very easy for somebody who perhaps didn't quite know what they were doing to start typing in here a phone number and they would obliterate this lookup function. We'd lose it. We'd have to go back to an old version, put it in again. We don't want people to be able to overwrite things that they shouldn't be able to overwrite. It's no longer necessary to type in this cell because the content of this cell is got from our database of customers by the VLOOKUP function. So the cell we need to be able to type into is that one, the account number cell. If we put the account number in there, it will automatically fill in that phone number. So what we need to do is to protect the phone number cell to stop people from typing into it. Now the way that we stop people typing into a cell is to lock it. And if you look at any of the cells on this sheet, you might be quite surprised to find that the cells are all locked already. By default, the cells on a sheet are locked. Let me show you how you can tell. Let's take this account number cell C17, the one where we type in the client account number. Right click. If you then go to the Format Cells option, one of the tabs is the Protection tab. And you'll see that on the Protection tab you have two options. You have a locked option and a hidden option. This cell is already locked. Now that particular cell, the one that contains the account number, I'm going to unlock. So all I'm going to do is click on the locked, click on OK. That cell is now unlocked. Let's go back to that phone number cell that we were looking at before. Do the same thing there. In fact, if you go to the Home tab, then on the drop down for Format there is actually a lock cell option, and if you have the sort of pressed version of the button here, the padlock, and it looks as though it's on a square button, that cell is already locked. If I wanted to unlock it, if I clicked Lock Cell and then look at the option again, notice all you can see now is the padlock itself. It doesn't have the sort of square shape around it. So let me just lock it again. That cell is of course locked. That's locked, that's unlocked. But at the moment I can actually type into either of them. Now the way that I actually make the locking work is to protect the worksheet. Click on Review tab, and one of the buttons in the Changes group there is Protect Sheet. And if I click on Protect Sheet, I get a little dialog, a Protect Sheet dialog. And this tick here means protect worksheet and contents of locked cells. This would in effect mean that the sheet and all locked cells are protected in a particular way. Now I can actually make a combination of things that users can and cannot do when this sheet is protected using this list of checkboxes at the bottom. So if I were to now protect this sheet, if I were to click OK to protect this sheet, because I've got the checkbox saying Protect Worksheet, this is what would happen. Users could select locked cells, select unlocked cells. They could format cells, format columns, format rows. I don't want them to be doing any formatting. I don't want them to be able to insert rows or columns, delete rows or columns, sort them, edit the objects, do anything like that. In fact, I don't want them to be able to select locked cells, so I'm going to uncheck that first option. All I want people to be able to do is that, select unlocked cells. Now, I can use that, I can protect that sheet with or without a password. If I did it without a password, it's more or less just avoiding people making little mistakes. Anybody who knows how to unprotect the sheet could unprotect it and do things to it. But if I put a password in there, then people could only unprotect the sheet if they had a password. Now on this occasion I'm not going to use a password. I'm just going to click on Protect Sheet, click on OK. The cell C17 is unlocked. I can change it. It says 2972 at the moment. If I change it to 2973, look for example at the unit cost down here, or the name and address details up here when I check that. Notice they update exactly as they were before. The big difference is this: I cannot click in any other cell on the sheet. I can't select, I'm clicking away with the mouse here, I cannot select anything else on this sheet. The only cell I can get to is that one. So if this were the only cell I needed to be able to enter information in, I could leave this sheet now like that and probably be quite happy that nobody could sort of mess up the rest of the sheet. But if at some time I needed to change something about the sheet, all I have to do is click on Unprotect Sheet here. And once I've clicked on Unprotect Sheet, I can of course click anywhere I like on the sheet. Now in this particular case, of course, in order to make this invoice work properly, we would need to unlock the cells where we enter the product code and the cells where we enter order quantity. But we follow pretty much the same procedure in order to achieve that. Now one thing to point out in all of this is that in an Excel 2013 workbook, protection of a sheet is per sheet. So if you have, for example, 3 worksheets here, you need to think about the protection of each of the worksheets individually. And of course, in the case of, say, the catalogue of parts, you may argue that most users have no need ever to change anything on this sheet at all, and maybe just one person has the password to this worksheet so that they can unlock the worksheet, add or update the part information, and then protect the sheet again so that nobody else can change either the contents of the sheet in terms of what parts are listed, or the prices or the discounts or anything else. And a similar sort of argument might well apply in terms of customers, although of course it may be different people that maintain the customer list to the people that maintain the catalogue. So that's the basics of protecting a worksheet. In the next section we're going to turn our attention to protecting a workbook, so please join me for that.